In life are looking for how to make a life worth living and retirement worth having. The craziness of living in a backwards asswards type of place is how people come out of the woodworks to harm a life. What's also interesting is how they will lie, steal, and cheat someone out of their life goods, out of their paperwork, out of their life records, and think that they are lawfully right in doing so. The liars of the land are those type of people. They don't know the right attitudes on life is truthful. They don't exhibit the right behaviors to most people, and they want to be badasses in American countries when they really don't even know the laws that we live within. That is always the first indication that someone doesn't belong in America, because in American education system, we typically have a way to learn about what are the rules and not the rules of living in America. Our socialization process through the elementary school, junior high, and high school, and even college period of life exhibit those particular institutions, if you will, those standard operating procedures, those things that we regularly do. I've just observed a person who is of color, who has an accent that's rather thick. It is more than obvious that he doesn't come from our nation. That doesn't mean he isn't an immigrant, but what it does mean is that he does not know our laws with regard to elderly and the handicapped. He has partially blocked the sidewalk, which makes it difficult for anyone like me with a rollator, anyone who's in a wheelchair, to get around. Those vehicles that he's trying to show off, they're actually starting to rust, and they're a $2,000 piece of equipment for the corporation that he is representing. I find it rather offensive that he doesn't recognize his devaluation of that equipment, but that I'm also accustomed to people all across this city devaluating human life. They literally think that they're in charge of someone else's life, that they feel they have the right to walk across the street and imply that someone else that is talking in that conversation between adults is somehow immoral, somehow illegal, somehow worth calling police on. And this is where our families begin and end today. That people are so lacking in their neighborly skills that they don't even know what they are, because they don't know practically how to be a good neighbor unless they're benefiting. You see, the truth of a good neighbor came out of the Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers era. And even though I am older than a lot of these young people who like to play, I am so tough, I am so cool, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to, even to you, old school, it's not even funny to me. What it says is that they have left a life of roots in their wake, that they have not understood how many people died and lost their lives to give them the freedoms that they despise today. Because only someone who despises freedom for their life and others does things that are illegal, and immorality is something that only God in heaven can judge. So when you try to say that someone is immoral, it's a simply an opinion. If there's a film you don't like and you say, I believe this is an immoral film because of what it's teaching to young people, that's an opinion by an old person who's seasoned in the ways of the world, seasoned in religion, and seasoned about what is and isn't lawful in terms of our practices in the United States, of what we will and won't allow here. There's also other aspects of illegality or legality that we must consider. That there are certain things in our American states that are legal and illegal, but here's the bottom line. None of them can trump a federal law. They can add extra protections to people in a city, in a county, in a community, but they cannot remove those protections that are already provided to us underneath federal constitutional law, or for that matter, international treaties of which our United States President, whether it was the current one or the past one in his employment in the White House, allowed to exist.